There will be no half measures. That is the message King Charles has now delivered with quiet clarity. At the very moment Harry's children appeared unexpectedly in a Disney anniversary reel, Windsor closed the half-open door. And yes, this contrast explains better than anything else why, after the so-called peacemaking tea at Clarence House, there will be no partial return to royal duty. Charles is holding to the line of the late Queen Elizabeth II, half in, half out is a road to nowhere. Let us begin with that tea. Just over 50 minutes, carefully timed. It was not a heart-to-heart about life but a test balloon for trust. And what did the palace do immediately after? Through people and other loyal channels came the discreet line, no change to the 2020 agreement, Harry did not request a role and none is being offered. The hook is obvious. Is this the end of all bridges? No. But it is the end of the game where one could be with the family on Tuesday, with Netflix on Wednesday. Why does this matter so much to an older audience? Because you remember how the court works, not by words but by precedents. On one side, an impeccable state visit, the seamless pairing of the King and the Prince of Wales, no sour asides, no whispered complaints. On the other, press chatter about Harry's wish to spend more time in Britain and the King's longing for his grandchildren. Every grandfather understands the dream. But protocol is not about dreams. It is about ensuring duty is not confused with PR. Now to the contrast that cut through even sympathetic eyes. A fresh ABC anniversary special on Disneyland, Disney owns the channel, featuring none other than Harry and Meghan with their children. VIP escort, personal guides, warm narration about magical childhood memories. The press spun it as rare footage of the little ones. And the hook is sharp. Is this really the moment for such a broadcast, when relations with the family have only just thawed? While Britain still debates security and status, California had no hesitation in folding the children into a promotional narrative. Not a crime, but unmistakably a signal. And one that the palace certainly saw. Supporters will object. Every family has the right to take their children to a park. True. But this was not simply a day at the park. It was integration into a corporate promotional feature, complete with narration, anecdotes, and camera-friendly close-ups. For a generation raised on simple rules, children are shielded from the public mill such deliberate exposure jars. Especially against years of complaint about press pursuit and unsafe conditions in Britain. Cameras in California, it seems, are not so frightening when they belong to friendly partners. This is why the palace slams the half-measure door. Because half-measures always create conflicts of interest. One day you open a hospice under a royal crest, the next you tease a commercial documentary. At what moment are you speaking for the crown, and at what moment for a brand? In Elizabeth II's reign, that line was guarded with steel. Charles, gentle though he may appear, has been literal in carrying out that legacy. Either you are inside and live by the code, or you are outside and live by your own rules. There is no third lane. But he is the king's son, some will protest. Of course he is. Which is why there was tea without cameras. Why there were no frosty press statements. But also why there is now cold clarity on status. Family feeling must not be confused with staff appointments. In 2020 everyone, from royal correspondents to volunteers in patronages, learned the lesson. Today it is simply reaffirmed politely, without drama. Does it close the road to the grandchildren? No. It closes only one trick. We will sometimes work on behalf of the family when it suits us. That is now over. And what irritates older viewers most is the asymmetry. The king asks, do not turn family conversations into press fodder. The press reports, Harry says his conscience is clear, his book is not revenge. He is entitled to those words. But when, within days, the children are placed in a network promo, the inconsistency is glaring. Not because of abstract double standards, but because we have been here before. Remember when family anecdotes became book chapters and Netflix episodes, followed by outrage at the headlines? The palace is determined not to repeat that cycle. Pragmatism shapes the next step. People reports discreetly, Harry requested no new duties, focused on his father. For the palace, this is ideal. Courteous, human, without a hint of comment on William's workload or tour schedules. Simultaneously, From Britain, another clear line. No half in, half out, spelled out point by point. Not an ultimatum, but prophylaxis against another round of sources say. The king is building firm boundaries. When you come, we talk of health, of grandchildren, of family. We do not talk of positions. Has this damaged Harry's image in Britain? Paradoxically, no. Many appreciate that he met with his father and kept the meeting private. But then the natural question arises, if you prize privacy, why place the children in a TV promo? That's Hollywood will not satisfy older audiences. Consistency is what matters. Either you protect the family space, or you monetize the public space, but then accept that the press will treat it as public. Money is rarely spoken of, but let's be blunt. VIP escort in the park is not friends inviting friends. It is part of a mutually beneficial machine. The platform gets the names get the footage, everyone profits. Except those in Britain quietly trying to rebuild the family without television specials. Note the subtle detail too. That same ABC special breathed nostalgia for Princess Diana, with references to childhood memories and favorite rides. A subject where one misplaced phrase risks cutting William and Camilla. The palace, of course, noticed. What comes next? Almost certainly what has already been spelled out. Visits, yes. Roles, no. If Harry wants to bring the children, it will be through a proper royal reception, private channel, inside a secure residence, no cameras. Security handled under standing rules, temporary arrangements if necessary. Any talk of temporary inclusion in the royal rota will be swatted down immediately. And that is correct. The goal is not punishment for past interviews but to seal the leak that has caused the most damage, status confusion. 3 practical takeaways, the kind older viewers always prefer over grand speeches. First, the king's gesture is not against children. It is against conflicts of interest. Second, the Disney episode is a warning. If you want warm family footage, do it privately and the world will believe it more readily. Third, if Harry truly wants more time in Britain, as he has said, the wisest course is to wait, to resist confessional interviews, and certainly to avoid exploiting Diana's anniversary dates for commercial projects. Time itself builds trust better than any press office. And here is the final hook. In the coming months we may indeed see bridges, quiet visits, moments with grandchildren, private chapel services. But bridges are not stages. The stage belongs to those who shoulder the monarchy's daily burden without pause for streaming seasons. That is why no half measures is not spite. It is the only sound logic that allows the crown to stand firm. The sooner California stops confusing the family album with a production slate, the sooner the questions everyone is tired of will fade. So let us settle the human point. A grandfather should and will see his grandchildren. A father and son should talk when they can. But an office is not returned in pieces like a gym membership. And children are not guest stars in promotional reels. That is the common sense on which monarchy rests. And the calmer Montecito accepts it, the shorter the road back if not to office, then at least to normal family relations, free of microphones and cameras.